All right, what's good, y'all? Hey, I'm about 20 minutes behind on this press conference. About 20 minutes behind this press conference, so I apologize. I didn't know it was gonna occur. So just hop in. I'm gonna start this joint from the beginning. So I'm like 20 minutes behind, but I'm gonna listen to this joint. Um, and let's see. Share audio. All right, y'all should be able to see that. Wait for a couple people to get in here. Wait for a couple. Can I get a mic check if y'all listening? Mic check 1 2. I don't see anybody in the chat just yet. Mic check 1 2. Here we go. All right, mic is good. All right, so appreciate that. I'm gonna restart this from the beginning. Again, I'm about 20 minutes behind, so I apologize. I'm about 20 minutes behind. Let me see if y'all can hear this real quick. Y'all can hear me, but can y'all hear this?
We're going to have Scott Fitter and Matt Rule available to answer questions you guys have for him. Just a reminder, please use the raise hand button if you have questions. We're going to go to Scott Fitter to open us up, and then we will get into questions. Scott, if you're ready, you can get us started.
Yeah, it's been a long but exciting process so far. We started out with several thousand prospective, draft prospects this year. We've weaned it down to about 155 on our draft board right now. So our coaches, our scouts, they've all done an excellent job just digging and going through, the whole process with these guys through the fall, through the spring, through Zoom meetings. We've had 75 Zoom meetings to this point. We'll have more this next week. Our scouts have made all the calls. Any player on our board, they've reached out, made the phone calls, got the background. So we can't thank the coaches and the scouts enough for their work. We're excited. We feel like we're prepared. Again, 155 players out of that entire class, and we're excited about what they can help us, how they can help us.
All right. First question, let's go to Phil.
I can't hear the media questions either, by the way. So welcome to my world.
If there's something in particular that you take from your time in Seattle, whether that's how the draft room is going to run, whether that's how you kind of organize your list of players, what's kind of the one thing that sticks out that you're bringing here from Seattle?
I think the one thing that really stood out is we have to know who the player is. Who is he as a person? Who is he as a competitor? And really, how does he fit our team? And we find out who these guys are through our scouts, through all their contacts in college, and then what the fit is for our team. We really sit down with our coaches. We've had several meetings with them, and we don't care like where they're getting drafted, what the projections are. It's really about how they fit our team, and that's what drives the value for us. So really, it starts with finding out who the person is. That's the most important part, and then through the process, how they fit our team.
Let's go to Bridget Condon, followed by Josh Graham.
Hey, this question is for Scott. Do you take what happened in Seattle, the experience there, especially in 2012 when you guys had a couple of quarterbacks and you still went ahead and drafted Russell Wilson? Do you take that experience to draft night if pick number 8 comes up and the right quarterback is on the table, even though you guys have Teddy, you have Sam? Are you using that to lean on what happened there in what you might do come draft night?
Sure, I think you always learn from experiences you have. And it just doesn't, relate to, it's not just quarterbacks, it's every position. I believe in bringing in the best players that can fit your team, create competition, and upgrade your roster. So whether it's a quarterback, a corner, it doesn't matter. It's just how do they fit our team? What's the path for success, and what's our plan for them?
And just one quick follow-up.
Pretty canned answers right now. Ain't nothing groundbreaking here.
Talking with them, that's the most important part for you. Is there one specific quarterback that you feel like fits your team best out of those top 5 guys that everyone's talking about?
Yes.
There is one quarterback.
No, there's actually several of them that we're excited about, just like there's several players, but we're not going to get into exactly who. To be consistent every year, and it's the same this year.
Which is what I've been saying. There's a drop off. Once you can only trade back so far before you drop off. All right, there's a huge drop off, and this talent level just goes down. So now you're trading yourself out of potential really good pick at 8 if you trade back. And again, I'm all for trading back, But it just depends on how far you're going back, and you have to have a trade partner.
And Matt, we heard Nick Sirianni talking yesterday. He's had to get creative with ways to get to know players. He even talked about seeing how competitive they are by playing rock, paper, scissors. I'm interested, what are some ways you've used the virtual element of things to try and get to know players when you're not able to be as close to them as you'd like to be?
Um, I just talk to them. I haven't. I saw that what Nick said. It's interesting. I haven't done anything like that. To me, the tape drives who they are. Their measurables and traits drives who they are. What people say about them, I think, is really key. I think when you treat people well, people in the building, are excited to talk about you. And then as I've talked to guys, I'm leaving here and going back down and doing another Zoom call. I have some tomorrow too. I like to ask. I like to ask everything from, if you could, if you're on a desert island, you can only listen to one artist. What would it be? To who your favorite player was growing up. I think you find out a lot about guys. But at the end of the day, what they put on tape in college is the most important thing to me in terms of the way that they play the game.
What would that song be on the desert island for you?
It's usually just one art. I say one artist, so you can listen to everything that they play. And for me, it would.
That's a good question.
It would be Dave Matthews.
All right, let's go to David Newton, followed by.
I'm probably rolling with Michael Jackson, bro.
Yeah, Scott, there's been a lot of speculation about you trading back, and because of your history, I guess, at Seattle with the Seahawks trading back. Can you say how many teams you've talked to about trading back?
We've talked to several actually already. I'd say at least 5, all in different parts of the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be a lot more calls this week.
For sure.
And we're very open to moving back. We're open to picking. It just
As you
depends
should.
on how the board falls. Those first 7 picks in front of us.
Which is what I've been saying.
No follow up. I wanted to ask you that several players that could be there for you opted out this year. Explain how the process of evaluating those players that opted out in 2020 has worked for you guys, and how does that influence your decision?
Sure. Well, we have to obviously go back to 19 tape. You have to figure out, we've asked them why they opt out. They all opt out for different reasons. Many of them are good reasons too, and have no problem with that. Obviously, we like to see the most up to date who they are this year. It makes the evaluation process a lot easier. But this is what we were dealt with, and we'll go through the process just like we usually do, and grade the tape and evaluate the player and the person.
This question, I guess, is for both. Actually, I have 2. The first one is, how does medical information, how much of a kink is that throwing into the works, and how are you getting around that? And then also your overall thoughts for both of you on which position would be the deepest in this draft class.
Well, the top 150 did go to the combine this year. They had the medicals, so that definitely helps.
Why you look at Rule
The
like
rest
that
of
though?
the players that are on our draft board really have to dig in. We're dealing with virtual interviews, their injury history. We're getting all that information, but it makes it a little bit more difficult if we're not putting hands on them, if our doctors aren't seeing them in person. So we have to really make sure we're making the right decisions, really dissect their injury history. And, if there's anything in doubt, it makes it difficult to take them.
He ain't answered the second part of the question.
Deepest positions would be
Damn, Matt.
corner, tackle, receiver. That's where our most numbers are in the.
I agree there.
Let's go to Darren Gant, followed by Steve Reed.
What's up with Matt Rule though, bro? This dude's tripping.
So long as a college scout, what's been the most unusual part of this process for you this offseason and trying to get a handle on guys when you can't get as up close as you usually used to being able to?
Just trying to figure out who the person is. Again, that goes back. That's one of the most important evaluation tools we have, is just getting in front of the person, talking to them, figuring out what motivates them. If they look you in the eye, if you can feel them as a person. I love being in front of the guys, and it's made it difficult this year. But that's why we do the Zoom calls with them. It's why we make the phone calls. It's why we make the calls to equipment managers, coaches, whoever knows these players, and we just put this together, put the picture together best we can.
Scott or Matt, I understand best player available at 8, but when you walk away from this draft next weekend, what positions do you feel like you kind of have to?
They're not gonna answer that, bro.
You're on a roll, brother.
I'm doing all the talking.
I'm fine with that.
Matt, that means say something, bro.
There's some obvious positions that we can upgrade. But again, we're going to just take the best player available. That's what
Talk it.
we
Talk
did in
it.
free agency. We filled a lot of needs. We're built through the draft team, and that's what we want to do is take the best available player. We don't want to be forced into taking a need. So that's what I'd say. That's how I'd answer the question.
I mean, can answer, but I like it.
I think
they should follow through with that.
I think Scott's right. I think the job that was done in free agency allowed us. There's no any one position where we feel like, hey, we need to take someone here.
Left tackle is it. Yes, there is. You take the left tackle, Matt.
Years and say, hey, we have a couple of great players that came out of this draft, and so if we look at it from that perspective, it's not necessarily about a need for this season. It's really trying to build the team, the team that can compete year in and year out. So we'll just try to take the best players and know that we have a roster that allows us to do that.
I agree with all but left tackle because Cam Erving ain't it. He ain't the answer, bro. And the answer is not on the roster. So you need a left tackle.
Coach Rule, but Scott can interject if he wants to. Coach, the last time you talked to us, you talked a little bit about the Parcells' philosophy towards team building. One of the other things Parcells also said was that if they want you to cook the dinner, you should at least be able to buy some of the groceries.
It's good, Clay.
This is your first draft working with Scott. What would you say has been your collaborative process with him, and how controlled the shopping cart do you feel?
I think the process has been great. We're going to finish here, have lunch, and go back, meet again today.
You need a nap, my G.
To me, it's all about vision. It's all about, it's about the Carolina Panthers, from me to Scott, to every coach, to every scout, all of us understanding the vision of the type of player that we want, the type of team that we want to build, and then the vision at each position. And so when people see that thing, when they see the visions the same way, they might not agree on the player, but they understand the vision. You end up bringing in the right type of players. And so I think it's been unbelievably collaborative. I never want groupthink, so I don't want it on our coaching staff. I'm sure Scott doesn't want it on his personnel staff. If we all think the same, no one's thinking. But what we do want is discussion, conversation. People say collaboration. Collaboration sometimes is disagreeing and arguing. So I think we have a great thing going. And I'm sure that, there's a lot of work still to be done until draft night. But, I'm very grateful for the work that the scouting, the personnel staff, and Scott's staff have done, because they're here day and night working at it. And so, and as far as I'm concerned, I have no doubt that Scott does not want to put a player on this roster that we don't want to coach. There's no doubt. So,
why would anybody want to do that, Matt?
That lets you feel really good about the direction we're heading.
You just talking now, bro. Yeah, you should let Scott talk because you ain't saying nothing.
Scott and Matt, hope y'all are doing well. Scott, you briefly touched on this, but I'm curious, when you all, what goes into the process of weighing whether you all might trade back that number 8 or stay at 8 or do whatever else with it? What all goes into that?
We'll look at the players that are available when we pick, and how many of those players that can help us that we've identified, how far we can go back. Still get one of those players without trading out of a level. We don't want to trade out to stay beyond a certain level where the talent dips. And we know exactly where that's at in this draft, and we'll see what the options are. We're more than willing to listen to other teams, and if they want to offer picks and we feel like we can go back, still get one of our players that we want, yet have multiple picks to help keep building this team, that's what we'll do.
That's what I've been saying. You can't trade yourself out of a level, bro. The cutoff is real. You don't trade out of that cutoff, bro.
Last year, you had mentioned that you were so connected to the college game that you had maybe an advantage that other coaches didn't. Do you still feel like there's some kind of residual knowledge of some of these college players left over, or because because you've been out for a year, that's less so this year?
No, I have, I would say that I have, when I say I mean our staff, a lot of guys on our staff too, have a lot of connections with a lot of these guys, either through recruiting or playing against them or, just through the whole process. Like, you might sign 25 guys a year, but to get to those 25, like Scott alluded to about this process, you start with 5,000. So a lot of the guys are going through this draft, we have knowledge of or know, or like when we did the Senior Bowl, like I would sit downstairs at night and talk to guys that I had known since they were 16, 15 in some cases, Kyle Pitts, I know, is projected to go really high. I think we were the first guy that offered him a scholarship, came to our camp.
Name drop.
There's a lot of connections, but at the end of the day, that's just a small thing, maybe I think last year it helped us maybe a little bit in, post-draft free agency, getting a guy like Miles Hartsfield, who we remember from high school. He came in and by the end of the year was a starter for us. Those are small connections, but I think we still have them.
Hey, I have two for Scott. First, will your decision on Sam's fifth-year option be impacted at all by what you do in the draft?
No, we have a plan in place, and that's something we'll address after the draft, and that's what we're focused on right now. But we have a plan in place.
Is that an expectation to pick up the option?
Again, we'll talk about it after the draft, but yes, we do have a strong plan in place.
And then secondly, John Schneider, I think, was pretty open about talking about how in Seattle you guys like corners with 32-inch arms. Is that a philosophy that you'll bring here? And then similarly, will you have a philosophy on arm length for offensive tackles? Do you have a philosophy?
As far as corners, we change to what our coaches want, what they expect. We're not going to play with the exact type of corner we played with in Seattle. We look for different traits here. We adjust as a personnel staff to that. Obviously, length is important. It does show up on tape. It's important for offensive linemen as well, and it is a factor that we look at.
Let's go to Brett Jensen, followed by Jason Brown.
Hey guys, thanks. I'm just curious, in terms of free agency, are you guys for the most part done for a little bit, maybe until training camp starts and you get more cuts during training camp? Or are you still active? Are you still pursuing? What's your thoughts on that for this as you're leading into the draft?
We're always looking at acquisition. We'll look at it every day. We look at the waiver wire every day. We never feel like our roster is set. We always want to create competition and upgrade the back end. So if there's a player available that we think can do that, we'll do that.
Hey, gentlemen, Jason Brown, Spectrum News 1. Thanks for your time. I know Matt talked about the collaborative process of this draft, but since this is your first draft together and you're getting to know each other a little bit better, I'm hoping each of you would be willing to share maybe something new that you've learned about the other through this whole process, whether it's a funny story or even something serious.
Good question.
He likes pickled eggs.
Bro.
There's an inside story on that one. So that's one thing I've learned about him. And really what I've learned about him is how good he is at personnel. You can see that the evaluator in him, the way he communicates with the scouts, the clear vision, that really helps us as evaluators, and it helps our scouts know exactly what we're looking for at each position. Our coaches are, very open-minded. They're developmental-minded. We talk to our assistant coaches. They can tell us exactly what they want in a player, and that makes it easy for us.
The pickled eggs threw me. Besides the fact that he can sleep on any plane, that I can't. I just think he's it's hard to walk in, day one and everyone's kind of already there, the coaches and personnel staff. I think Scott's got a tremendous way with people, and you can see it when you're on the road and how many other, I haven't had one person that knows me say, anything bad about Scott. That people rave about him. I think because he treats people well, and I think that's a really important quality to me. I think you heard me say that about players earlier. I just want to be around people who treat people well, and I think Scott's ability to get along with people, to manage personalities, and also still have a really strong opinion and be the leader is unique, and I think it's something that you can see right away.
Let's go to Elena Getzenberg, followed by David Newton.
First, I have a couple questions for each that are all kind of short. For Scott, is there any update? I know you talked about Sam's fifth-year option, but on DJ's fifth-year option, is it kind of the same?
Great question.
Waiting until after the draft?
Yeah, we're focused on the draft right now. Those are all things that we think about. Obviously, it's something you manage every day, but something we'll address after the draft.
And concerning Teddy, is there any update with regards to those talks, or are you still having conversations with his representative?
Elena asking them heat
We've
questions.
had,
Good question.
A lot of dialogue with Teddy's agent, with Teddy, and Teddy's part of our team right now. That's where we're at, and we're moving forward with this.
And then for Matt, I was curious about having guys back in the building. I know you had talked about how you were hopeful that that would be the case, but what's the past week been like so far?
Well, I mean, it's great. You get into coaching because you love working with players. You love being around players. You love being around the game. And this is a really big building. And when the team's not here, the halls are a little quieter. So, obviously, we're not around them while they lift or run. Now, those are the rules. But just seeing guys as they test in the morning, seeing guys, walking through, seeing guys leaving, that's fun for me. I believe in the concept of team, and to me, you build team by being around each other. And so that's for us as coaches, that's for the players. So I love having those guys there that are here, and my approach has been, it's voluntary. If you're here, great. If not, we trust you and support you and love you. So, but having the guys here has been really fun.
And then I was just curious, is there any major difference? I know you liked working with Marty and all that, but between this year and last year, just differences between Marty and Scott, and anything you've noticed in particular this year?
Yeah, I can't even comment on last year because we didn't have any draft meetings because of the situation that happened, last year. So I was saying to like a couple of our scouts the other day, like, this is the first time I've really sat in draft meetings with them. Last year, they had their meetings. Then we went to the Senior Bowl together, and then everything just kind of evaporated. So it was really just, Marty and I one off. I worked with the coaches. So this process has been really good, just to have the coaches go in with the personnel staff, share our vision for players, and I think the process that's been really good about it has been, if the coaching staff sees someone different, then the personnel people go back, and Scott and his team go back and they watch. And if we see it differently, we go back and we watch. And so there's been this kind of really healthy watch the tape process, and again, you have to have disagreement or else nothing good happens. And so I think the process has been really good, and it's just so different from.
I wanted to pause this real quick because I want to address a couple comments. Sam Darnold's fifth-year option. You have until May 3rd. So what are you going to see between now and May 3rd to pick up that fifth-year option? You have to pick it up. It's obvious. You're going to pick it up. So you can't wait until you see him in a game to pick up the fifth-year option. You have until May 3rd to pick it up. So you're going to pick that up. Him and DJ. You're going to pick those fifth-year options up.
Last year, just because of COVID. I'm sure had there been no COVID, we would have had this process or something like it last year. So it's good for me just to be involved in it.
Yep, I got a couple questions here. Scott, first for you. How many players do you have a top 10 grade on, and how's that going to make your impact your decision to trade back?
Right now, we have about 16 in the first round. That's our number, and we ranked them 1 through 16.
16 first-round prospects. Keep that in mind. 16.
We would take them. As far as the top, I don't really look at it as how many are top 10 worthy. It's just we're looking more for the fit for our team.
Okay. And Matt, you talked what a big advantage the Senior Bowl was to you and your staff.
And real quick, just to dive into that does not mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way through 16 is going to go 1 through 16. That means they may have a guy that's sitting probably in the power rankings. If you're going to rank all the players, they might have a player sitting that's projected to go like pick 25, but he has a first round grade for them. So what they're seeing is at number 8, how many of those 16 guys are left because you want to trade back. And so that's important. Keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that.
How many players do you see coming out of that evaluation that could impact this team?
I don't know the exact number. I think I saw a couple of the guys that we coached in the Senior Bowl. I saw them at their pro days, and they looked significantly bigger and stronger. And it just reaffirmed for me how much COVID and the college off season, and some of these guys, like, they thought the season was canceled, and all of a sudden it was on. It just reaffirmed for me how much you have to just keep working through the draft, because some of these guys, like, they didn't have a chance to work out for 6 months, and all of a sudden now they looked great at their pro days. So, but I think there's several that are on our board, and then part of the Senior Bowl was eliminating some guys, part of it was adding some guys. But I think there were a lot of guys on that team that could on the Senior Bowl team, both sides, that could help us.
And how many pickled eggs can you eat in a draft night?
I don't like pickled eggs. I just want to make sure everybody understand that. We went to Fargo, North Dakota, and the people in Fargo are amazing, absolutely amazing. And where we went to dinner, they said that was one of their delicacies. That was one of their best dishes. So I ordered it, and I ate it. And you know what? If I go back to Fargo, I'm getting them again.
It was terrible.
It
was awful.
All right, guys, we got time for two more. So let's go to Jonathan Jones and then finish with Josh Klein.
Hey, guys, this is probably for Scott. Scott, what's the information stream been like, either with prospects and getting information on them, and then also information from other teams? Like, what is your confidence level right now about what's going to happen in the draft from basically picks 3 to 7?
Well, as far as the information, are you talking about, like, how we acquired it throughout the season this year, the difficulties with that?
Yeah, in a year like so.
Yeah, it's really hard because some schools allowed our scouts on campus, so it was a little bit easier to get it. It was more normal that way. Other schools, you couldn't even step foot on campus, and really, it was probably most of the schools right there. You couldn't walk into the building. So you have to look for different ways, and good scouts will find a different way to do it. They're not going to follow just the path of everybody else. They'll make their calls. They have their connections. That's what they rely on. That's what a good scout does. As far as you said 3 through 7, we're always looking for intel. We talk to a lot of different people. We talk to teams. We talk to agents. We rely on our network to get the best information we can get. Nothing's 100%, obviously, but you can get a feel how it might go.
And then just a quick follow-up for Matt. Matt, did you get in any elevators with prospects during this time? Did you talk with anyone where you said, you know what, after this Zoom call, you're off the list?
Not off the Zoom call.
It's a good question.
There's been guys that I think for all of us that we've said, hey, this guy's just probably not a great fit here. Be it the Senior Bowl, be it just going through the whole process. We want a certain type of person, and there's a lot of them out there. And if someone's not right for us, hopefully they'll be right for somebody else.
Let's go to Josh Klein for the final question.
Last question here.
The war room this year, what is the war room going to look like? I know last year
you need P&P in the war room. That's who you need. You saw how it went down.
what the Rams are doing out there in LA, and are you a little bit jealous?
That is interesting. That'd be a lot of fun. We did opt.
Hold that thought.
Here in the stadium, in the upper deck here, the 300 level. We opted to have 10 people in the room, and that's how we're going to operate this year. It is a collaborative process. All of our scouts will be involved. Coaches will be involved, but we did opt for the 10 in the room during this time. But yeah, the Rams definitely looks like a lot of fun.
And then, Matt, I was wondering if we could get your reaction to the newly rescheduled Dave Matthews Band tour opening in Raleigh in July, and your favorite song.
July 23rd.
I'm excited.
Fired up. Favorite song? Oh, you know what? This is going to be controversial, but I would probably say You and Me. Just
No Gray Streets.
That's what I'm saying. It's controversial, I know. But I would say You and Me.
Look at these dudes up in there getting a bromance on. All right, so I'm about to break this down real quick. A couple interesting notes. hold this thought. Let me get my thoughts together real quick, because here's what we saw. Okay, here's what we saw. We heard a lot of good things, a lot of coach speak, a lot of good things. But quick notes, quick takeaways was that one, they got 16 players on in first round grades. 16 players first round grades. So what does that mean? Like I said earlier, that means that they got 16 guys that they will take in the first round. Doesn't sound like a lot. And somebody said in here earlier, a lot of teams have less than 32 first round picks on their board. That's just how it works. That's nothing norm or nothing groundbreaking or out the norm. Okay. Now what that tells me is that, depending on how things fall at 8, there's gonna be potentially eight other guys, at worst case scenario, 8 other guys on their board. So that seems to me like they would be willing to trade back, especially within up to 15. Now that's going to leave one player on your board. Now, depending on how they rank it, they might rank position, they might rank the position value. So let's say left tackle, for instance. Left tackle may be more valuable to them than cornerback. So if the cornerbacks are gone, they may be cool with that, but they may see a left tackle available that they want. So it just depends on how the board falls. We cannot sit up here and say, listen, let me repeat this right now. Listen to the sound of my voice. We cannot say what the Carolina Panthers are going to do draft night. We don't know. We can't say, oh, we're trading back. We're leaning. No, you don't know, because you don't know how the board is going to fall. Nobody here knows how the board is going to fall until draft night. Let me be clear. Okay. Let's be clear on that. Nobody knows. Now, let me give you an example of nobody knows how the board's going to fall. Let me give you a few examples. Number one, what if Penei Sewell falls to us? Are we still going to trade back? Probably not. What if Kyle Pitts falls? Are we going to trade back? Probably not. There's going to be somebody that could potentially fall that they are not going to be willing to trade back for. So we don't know. We have no clue. No idea. Am I against trading back? Absolutely not. I've been cool. Again, with this transition, with rebuilding the team, you need draft capital. And I've been saying that for a long time. But if there is a guy that's going to change my franchise, i.e. Penei Sewell, that you can plug and play at left tackle for the next 15 years, I'm taking that guy and I'm not trading back, okay? I'm not taking that back at all. I'm not trading back at all, okay? So, and this is true, Jared. This is true. Jared says there could also be players selected in the top 16 that they did not have a first-round grade on at all. So that could be true, which means they could trade back even further to get one of those guys. Very good point, Jared. Very good point. I agree with you. So that being said, listen, we don't know. It's fluid. We don't know what the Panthers are going to do. We don't know what their board looks like. And again, I'm for trading back. We need more picks. We're probably going to get picks on draft night. People are forgetting about Teddy Bridgewater. The rumor is that that the Broncos are looking to trade for him on draft night, depending on how the board falls. So there's a lot of things that could happen. It's fluid, okay? It's very fluid. Here's my thing, Panthers fans, for all of you guys in the sound of my voice, don't get locked in on one train of thought. Don't get locked in on we're trading back because you don't know. Don't get locked on we're picking at 8 because you don't know. Don't get locked on a certain thing. Be fluid. And don't get angry when we go a certain way. Because what's going to happen is we're going to trade back. And a lot of y'all going to be mad. Oh, we only got a 3rd round pick. Oh, we only got a 2nd round pick. Oh, y'all going to be mad at the haul we get. Because the reality is, if you're trading from 15 to 8, you're not going to get that much. You may get one additional 2nd round pick. That's the reality. You can look at all the draft calculators, the value calculators out there, and assess what you're going to get. Okay, you may not be getting what you think you're going to get. Now, if there's a team willing to trade back from the late 20s, they got to give me a bag. They got to give me an additional 1st round, and that's what kind of picks the kind of haul I'm looking for if I'm looking to trade back. Now, again, and here's another thing. Here's another thing Scott said. He said there was a lot of value in that 2nd and 3rd round. I forgot the picks he said. One of y'all let me know what he said. It was picks 20 something through 50 or something. I forgot what he said, but he said there's a lot of value in that area. So when he's looking for that trade back, he's going to be looking to get in that value in that area. Okay. So in that second round, he's probably going to be looking to get additional second round pick and want to kind of get that value. So again, I like what he's saying. You have to be fluid, y'all. That's all I want y'all to take away from this. Be fluid. Do not fall in love with a player. Do not fall in love with a particular draft haul, because you're probably not going to get what you're thinking about. Don't fall in love with anybody falling back. I saw somebody say earlier, oh, we're going to trade back to 15 and J.C. Horn's going to be there. No, he's not. He's not going to be there. Okay, J.C. Horn is not going to be there. And that's the problem with trading back, because what you think could be there is probably not going to be there, because other people have their board set up too. Okay? All right, so this is what he said. Thanks, Eddie. Oh, my bad. Eddie says he said picks 20 through 50 are the strength of this draft. Okay, the strength of this draft is picks 20 through 50. So he may be looking to trade back in that area, pick up something there. But if you have a first round grade on a dude, do you take him or do you trade back? That's the conundrum, bro. That's the conundrum. We gotta figure it out. So again, don't fall in love. Don't fall in love with a particular player. Don't fall in love with anybody falling. Don't fall in love. It's probably somebody said, "Oh, is Richie Grant going to fall to the third?" I don't know. Probably not. But you can't. That's why and I think Unnecessary Bluntness said this, and he's right. He said that the draft it's a crapshoot, bro. It's like playing. It's a gamble. You never know what's going to happen, bro. But at the end of the day, there are ways to hedge your bets. Okay, there are ways to make a safer bet. Okay, you have to be analytical. You have to make a safe bet. And my thing is this. You've got to figure out who you want. If there is that guy, i.e. Penei Sewell for me, i.e. a couple other guys, if they are sitting there at 8, there is no way you can trade back. You have to take them. And trust me, there are guys on their board that they're thinking about in that manner. That, hey, he's going to be there, and we're going to take him at 8 if he falls. If he doesn't, and we have 3 or 4 more options, we can trade back, and we think we can get a guy, you may be able to do it, but at that point, you're taking a calculated risk, and that's what it's about. It's about that, okay? So that's pretty much, man. That's pretty much all I had, bro. Come on, man. There we go. That's pretty much all I had. Listen, I think Matt Rule, Scott Fitterer, they're saying the right things. I like what they're saying, but at the end of the day, he does love Pitts, and I think he does love Pitts, and I think that Pitts has been high on. If you watch the show, you've been watching, been keeping up. We've been saying that Pitts is high on their board, very high on their board. They love Pitts, and this is from a source that has a source within the organization. All right, they love Pitts, and if he falls at 8, ain't no trading back, bro. They're gonna take him. Bro. So listen, man, that's all I got, man. Hit that subscribe button for your boy. And it's gonna be fun. Next week is gonna be fun. I think we got the Discord. Shout out to Jared. Just said, yo, Jared, we're gonna collaborate on a big board for draft night. And yo, come join us on draft night. Huge draft party. We live streaming every single pick, all the way from pick 1 to the 7th round. We doing all the picks. All right, all of them. We're gonna stream every day. We're gonna be up here live every single day of the draft, analyzing these picks. And we're gonna have our big board up. If you are familiar with what we did, you were there last year. We're doing the same thing. Giveaways every single day. It's gonna be fun. All right, it's gonna be fun. That being said, man, I'm getting out of here. Make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button on the way out. I appreciate it. All right. Hey, and the draft contest. Go back, look at the videos. I got a video on how to enter the draft contest. Make sure you do that. That's gonna be fun too. All right, I'm getting out of here, bro. Again, open mind, bro. Don't get locked on anything. That's all I'm saying to y'all, because I don't want to hear y'all complaining on draft night. I want to enjoy myself on draft night. I don't want to hear no complaining about who we missed. And then next year, what's going to happen is if we trade back, this is what's going to happen if we trade back. I'm calling this right now. I'm calling this right now. We trade back for a dude, and y'all going to be like, when this dude balls out that we could have had, y'all going to be like, damn, man, we could have had such and such. He balling out right now. We could have had blah, 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 blah. That's what's going to happen, man. That's what's going to happen right now. So that's all I got, man. That's all I got. Man, thank y'all for joining me on this quick lunch break. But I'm getting out of here, man. All right. Keep pounding. Peace out, y'all, man. Hit that subscribe button. I'm out.